What if the problem isn't that you don't love God enough? What if the problem is you don't think you needed forgiveness that much? Jesus once told a parable that exposes something uncomfortable, not about sin alone, but about how we see ourselves. And it explains why some people worship deeply, while others stay distant. Stories have a unique way of bypassing our defenses and speaking directly to our hearts. They can reveal truths we might otherwise resist. Jesus was a master storyteller, and he often used simple, relatable parables to illuminate profound spiritual realities about the kingdom of God and the state of the human soul. One of his most piercing stories wasn't told to a crowd of notorious sinners, but in the quiet, respectable setting of a religious leader's home. As he sat at the dinner table, Jesus said, "There were two people who owed money to the same lender. Imagine a powerful, wealthy figure, someone holding the financial fate of others in his hands. One of them owed 500 denarii, the other owed 50. To put that in perspective, a single denarius was a full day's wage for a common laborer. So one person owed more than a year and a half's salary, a crushing, life-altering debt. The other owed about 2 months' wages. Still a significant burden, but nowhere near the same scale. But here was the common ground they shared, the stark reality for both. Neither of them could repay what they owed. Whether the debt was monumental or merely substantial, they were both bankrupt. They had no resources, no way to make things right on their own. They were completely at the lender's mercy, and in an act of stunning generosity, the lender canceled both debts. He didn't set up a payment plan or demand a portion. He simply wiped the slate clean for both of them, freely and completely. The obligation was gone. Then Jesus turned to his host and asked the critical question, "Now tell me, which one will love him more?" The answer seems obvious, almost intuitive. The one who was forgiven more will love more. The one who understood the sheer magnitude of the debt they could never pay will be overwhelmed with a deeper, more profound sense of gratitude and love. Their relief isn't just relief, it's a life-altering flood of thankfulness. And this is the point. Jesus told this parable not to criminals or outcasts, but to religious people who thought they were already fine. He told it to Simon the Pharisee, a man who likely saw his own debt to God as small, manageable, perhaps even paid off by his good behavior. The story was a mirror, designed to reveal a hidden poverty of the heart and to redefine what it truly means to love God. Here's what makes this parable so uncomfortable. It's not just a story about debt, it's a mirror held up to our hearts, reflecting how we truly see ourselves in relation to grace. Both debtors were forgiven. The slate was wiped clean for both, an act of pure, unearned generosity. The pardon was absolute, identical for the one who owed a fortune and the one who owed a modest sum. But only one was truly transformed. For this person, forgiveness wasn't a transaction, it was a resurrection, the lifting of an impossible soul-crushing weight. The relief was so profound it overflowed into a torrent of love and gratitude. The other assumed, "I didn't know that much anyway." This is the quiet danger. This person saw forgiveness not as a life-altering rescue, but as a minor courtesy. Their internal narrative was one of self-sufficiency, believing their debt was manageable. And that's the spiritual complacency that can be more perilous than outright rebellion. It's the posture of thinking we have it all together, comparing our small flaws to the larger failings of others, and concluding we're in a pretty good place. It's a polite nod to God, rather than a desperate cry for help. It's seeing the cross as a helpful gesture instead of the only solution to a fatal problem. This mindset keeps gratitude at arm's length, because you can't be overwhelmingly thankful for something you believe you didn't desperately need. Jesus shows us that gratitude doesn't come from a clean image. It comes from knowing how much you were carried. True, heart-altering love for God is born from the stunning, humbling realization of our own bankruptcy and the breathtaking generosity of the one who paid a debt we could never repay. Heart check. When we gather, we see a spectrum of human hearts. Some people worship with tears streaming down their faces, not always from sorrow, but from an overwhelming sense of relief and gratitude. It's the posture of a heart that has been profoundly touched. Others stand with folded arms. It's easy to judge this as resistance, but often it's a sign of something else entirely. A cautious heart, a mind wrestling with doubt, or a soul that has been wounded and is now protecting itself from further pain. Both are present, both are seen. This difference in posture often reveals a deeper difference in perspective. Some feel completely overwhelmed by grace, as if a debt they could never repay has been wiped clean, no strings attached. They stand in stunned, joyful disbelief. Others, perhaps without even realizing it, feel entitled to it. For them, forgiveness isn't a shocking gift, but more like a transaction that was due, a box that needed to be checked. It's something they expected, and so its arrival doesn't fundamentally change them. This parable from Jesus forces us to pause and ask a hard, deeply personal question. It's a moment for an honest heart check. When you think about God's forgiveness in your own life, do you see it as an undeserved, life-altering gift, or as something God owed you? Is it a pardon that leaves you breathless with gratitude, or is it simply the expected outcome for someone who tries to be a good person? Your honest answer to this question reveals everything. The person who knows they were forgiven much, who truly understands the depth of their own brokenness and the even greater depth of God's mercy, cannot help but be transformed. They live humbly, knowing they have no grounds for pride. They love deeply, eager to extend the same grace they received. And they worship freely, unburdened by the need to perform or prove their worth. Their life becomes a response of gratitude. But the one who thinks their debt was small, who minimizes their own failings while perhaps maximizing the failings of others, often stays distant. Their heart remains guarded, their spirit critical. Because they haven't grasped the magnitude of the gift, they struggle to give it away, and they live in a quiet prison of self-righteousness, unable to experience the full joy of being truly, completely, and freely forgiven. Here's the good news. You don't need a bigger past to experience deeper grace. You only need honesty. When you recognize how much mercy meets you every day, your heart softens, love grows, and worship becomes natural. Grace is not measured by how bad you were, but by how deeply you understand you were forgiven. And the one who is forgiven much will always love much. If this spoke to you, take a step now. Pause and thank God for His mercy. Then share this with one person who needs hope. Subscribe for weekly encouragement, and comment "Forgiven" below.